And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Market Forecast. Today is Monday, March the 7th. I'm John Hoagland. Thanks for trusting me with your time. A happy heavenly birthday to my dad, Richard. Happy birthday, Dad. As always, we're going to see if we can find accurate context in these markets. Always be thinking about risk management and practicing patience. As far as economic numbers this morning, nothing important to do out. As a matter of fact, there's not a lot this week. We don't really have any majors today. Tomorrow, international trade in goods and services, international trade numbers. Wednesday, the job openings labor turnover surveys at 9 a.m. Central Time, and then at 9:30, of course, the EIA, Petroleum Status Report. We do have CPI and jobless claims, as usual, on Thursday at 7:30, and the Nat Gas report due out at 9:30, and then on Friday, the Michigan Consumer Sentiment. So there's not a lot of economic data coming out on the schedule here this week, but we certainly have a lot of other things to focus on, as we're all well aware of. Spent a lot of time praying this weekend for peace, strength, and freedom. Hopefully you did the same. It's Monday, and we're starting a new chapter in our book of the trading year today. It's usually going to be a slow start for me on Mondays. Not my best trading day, so I'm going to take my time and get into something and make the market come and get me. Excuse me, my goodness. Make the market come and get me. I don't want to go searching for anything. As far as things that people are focusing on, U.S. stocks set to open a little bit lower now, well off session lows, as high energy prices and food inflation threaten economic growth. Crude prices continue to soar on talks of an embargo on Russian crude oil. That's all continuing. Don't we produce oil here? It just seems to make sense. Russian debt defaults are going to be, first one is likely to be confirmed today. So Russia, also, in dire straits as far as their economic situation is concerned. Of course, the euro, which is rolling on Wednesday, by the way, as all currencies are rolling to the March contract, has lost 4% against the U.S. dollar in the last week. And as usual, make sure you please keep on praying for peace. The VIX, the dollar index, and the 10-year yield this morning, VIX is up about 5.5%, as the last I checked, 33.76. I'm sure it's still not too far off of that. Dollar index, 98.84. We put in a new 52-week high last week. We're off that by a little bit, slightly higher than the close on Friday. And the yield on the 10-year largely steady at 1.78. Next week on Wednesday, we have the FOMC meeting, so a lot of traders will probably be hedging and getting their position straight for next Wednesday. We can pretty sure expect a rate hike, so we've got that to look forward to. I'm going to say, as always, make sure you share, comment, question, feedback, heckling, and love are always welcome here at the Market Forecast. Hit that lucky like button. Got to say good morning to everybody. Manuel Caesar, first in the room. You win the prize this morning. Shaw, good morning. Isaac, Theo, Lamus, Brian, Mirik, Jeff, Zorain, Tachyon, Jeff, Dan Trader, my brother Rick, I love you. Drew, good morning. Chillin' with Dylan. I like that chat name. Welcome to the Market Forecast, Janus and Janus. S. Jewel, good morning. Jerry is awake. Hopefully John is too. Dave Francis, Luis, Ronald, good morning. Nico, Vince, my guy, good morning. Devant, Rob T, 3 Lions Insight. Jerry is awake. Nice start. 43 outside. All right, nice. I think we've got about 30 here and snowing as we speak. Really excited to see that this morning when I woke up. Harry, good morning. Dan, good morning. What is this? Like the 4th gap down, Sunday gap down that is bought up. Let's surround our hearts on Putin, and so he wakes up to the truth of who he is. Yes, Sarah. If only that could happen, that would be wonderful to wake up and say, hey, what the hell am I doing? Let's stop this bullshit. If you'll pardon my French. Expediter Dean, good morning. Alfred, 3 Lions Insight. 75 and sunny. Yeah, well, you're lucky. I think we're coming that way. Just not yet. Not just yet. Today's Monday. Hello from London, Francino. 3 Lions Insight. Daytona Beach you are in. Oh, nice. Scott saw and he conquered. There he is. Good morning to you as well. Michael H., good morning. Today's Monday. It's group coaching day. There's the link so you can get registered to come in. Got a couple of emailed in questions. I'm looking forward to addressing those today. And then, of course, we have that group coaching on Wednesday and Make Hogue Money on Thursday at about 8:20, 8:25, right after the market forecast. We're going to get into the Zoom room, and we are going to see if we can't make Hogue money. It was a lot of fun last Thursday. We're doing it again this Thursday. We'll do it again next Thursday, and we'll see where we go from there. I think it's a pretty cool, fun thing to do. Shaw, 98 in Bangkok today. My goodness. Jason, good morning from West Texas. Trading just like the weather. Can't stop the waves, but we can learn to surf. I love that. All right, well, we're going to see if we can find some surf and some good waves, maybe some fish for us here this morning. All right, let me get set up, make sure I got everything set right, and we'll jump in with the daily in the S&Ps. Let's take a look. All right. So we've got medium time frame structure remains to the downside. We're putting in lower highs, putting in lower lows, at least so far. We've put in a lower low from last week, but we rejected that area down there. Volume was okay. Maybe a little bit on an upturn. We added 9,400 in open interest. That's estimated on Friday. We would have to say that was probably some sellers coming in. The question is, are we going to accept or reject the previous short time frame range? We're inside of that short time frame range, that 5-day, 6-day balance area that we were wrestling with all last week. We looked down below it. Looks like we're going to be opening back inside of it. Deanna, good morning. Ray, yes, let's pray that doesn't happen. That is insanity. Insanity. Unfortunately, there's a lot of that going around these days. Anyways, so it's really, are we going to accept balance from last week, or are we going to reject it? What do we look like on the 30-minute chart? All right, so here's Friday's range. We opened last night here. We're opening this regular trading hour session in the same spot. We have no overnight inventory with which to deal with. We're inside the value area from Friday. Now, this low on Friday was really kind of the low extreme of the area of balance that we saw last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the low of the lower extreme. Well, we're back inside of it. We looked lower on low volume, of course. and we didn't really bring anything. Now we're back in range and value. That's going to say, all right, maybe we're still kind of looking to remain range bound, at least for now, in that range from last week. So I'll be watching the value area low and the low from the regular trading hour session on Friday to see if we can get this market to hold. Again, because we're opening in range and value, it tells me that I might need to be patient, wait for something, wait for better trade location as the day goes on. Not going to be probably not going to be looking for any opening range trades in the S&Ps today because they have been horrible. They have not been very fruitful. So we're not going to be trying that while we're in range and in value. Settlement is all the way up here, 43.27 quarter. Put that on your charts. The market can certainly target that. And then we've got some points higher that we can also go and look to target. We've got a point of control from Thursday that remains unchecked. Weekly kickoff high and weekly kickoff low remain the same this week as last week. We took a look at the weekly kickoff high, but I couldn't find any visuals or anything technical that said that I should be moving the weekly kickoff low. So weekly kickoff high 44.11 and 41.82 on the downside. 44.11, 41.82. We're right in the middle. Our little tennis player is just looking for where the next volley is going to go. Again, inside range and value. Try and stay patient. This may end up looking like a little bit of rejection below that range from last week. Market continuing to just kind of lurch towards settlement even before the open. It's going to be an interesting trading day, aren't they all, though? Take a look at the crude oil now. Scarcity scares. You know, I have been talking about the fact that the auction process up until this point has not been particularly gratifying for longs, of course, because we weren't seeing higher volume. We weren't seeing open interest coming in. As a matter of fact, even in the last 4 sessions, here, and here, they've all been losses in open interest, and that total ends up being about 137,000 contracts evaporated on this move to the upside. You would think hedgers, people trying to make money, would be trying to come in and getting along this market at this point. Apparently, that doesn't seem to be happening. It doesn't really matter when there is scarcity, when there is, a scare as far as embargoes and lack of the availability of crude. Prices obviously go higher, and there's nothing we can do that's going to change that. So I don't want to fight this upside move. I'm just not all that impressed because we don't see a whole lot of open interest coming in. This market could go to $200 a barrel. We don't know. It's just not being supported by the auction process. But the auction process, when emotion is involved, you cannot fight that emotion. Right now, there's a lot of fear in this market. Let's take a look at we got weekly kickoff high here, which is 122.40. 122.40. We certainly looked above that almost all night. We're back down below it though, and in regular trading hours is when I really look for the opportunities to be able to use these levels to make money. So we're back down below it. Let's take a look at the 30-minute. So we opened with a weekend gap. We're holding maybe some overnight shorts now. We may have a gap. Looks like we're going to have a gap. We're opening here in 30 seconds. We did have a late spike. We had a late spike to the upside. Well, that late spike tells us that if we open above the late spike, that's acceptance of higher pricing. The secondary acceptance of higher pricing and would be opening inside the late spike, and the base of that late spike is going to be around 113.75. So we've got last week's high, we've got Friday's session high, we've got settlement all right in this area. This looks like a kind of an interesting area to go fishing. There may be some fish here. Let's take a look at the opening range now, because we are opening out of range and out of balance from Friday's session. There may be an opportunity for us in the opening range. We've got a pretty big opening range here already, 92 to 46. We're at about 30 some odd ticks there. And we've got just a few seconds left here. It looks like we may be taking out the low of the opening range, which would lead us towards a gap close and towards a potential value area special situation play. We have, however, not yet taken out that low. It's a good question, Rick. When I looked at the open interest this morning, I've been looking at it, and it's the first few contracts that have not necessarily been adding to that open interest. It's a great question. Okay, so here we are. We've got the opening range. If we're short it, we're short at 118.45. Our risk is about 95. So we're looking at about 50 ticks of risk on this trade, and I'm not into that. That's a little too rich for me. If we get the opportunity to come back in to the opening range where I can limit my risk better, that's something I would think about. But again, I'm not feeling all that urgent to get into this opening range trade here this morning. Here we go. No gap close just yet. I'm still thinking of buying weakness until there's an acceptance inside value from Friday, which is value high, volume value high, that is, 113.85. Finding acceptance inside there, we could feasibly see this market rotate back to low of value from Friday. Got to get there first. We got a late spike. We've opened above the late spike. All things are saying, with the lack of a gap close, all things are saying, well, let's see if we can't find some weakness to buy. The only thing that isn't saying that, the only nuance that's opposite that, is our opening range trade. We've left the opening range at the high. Sellers are in control, at least for now. We also have some overnight shorts in here too. So overnight shorts are looking for help from the U.S. regular trading hours traders to be looking to push this market back into range from yesterday. If they don't get that, we may see an inventory adjustment to the upside. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. So almost the same as the S&Ps. Medium time frame structure intact, leading us lower highs, lower lows, at least so far. Weekly kickoff high and low did not move. 14,350 on the upside, 13,483 on the downside. We took a look relatively close to that weekly kickoff low in the overnight last night, but here we are back in the area of balance, the lower extreme of the area of balance that we set last week. Last week's low, this pink line right here, that low, to be precise, was 13,683. Is going to be somewhat pivotal for us this morning. If we can hold above it, that may bring us back into range and value from the past from last week. If we can't hold it, then we might get a real good look at weekly kickoff low. Don't forget, we are 20% off the high here, and so far, structure still leading us lower. Gold. All right. On the daily chart, Friday, the continuation move. Okay. Obviously, the medium time frame structure is higher lows, higher highs. We got another higher high. this morning. We're looking at acceleration, really. We added 17,000 in open interest on this move on Friday on a little bit higher volume. Overall volume has been holding up, and it looks like we're already stacking up some pretty good volume today. $2,000 gold. Yep, you're there. You're there. So the weekly kickoff level is going to be in play if we get the opportunity to see price at that level. It might be an interesting spot to go looking for some fish. Here it is, 1992 and a half. Opening last night here, opening today here. No real overnight inventory with which to look at. We took a look down into value from yesterday, which we have so far had no sign of accepting. This is rejection. This is sellers got too short. They backed off. Buyers came in and brought this market right back to the upside. Last week's high, again, is going to be somewhat pivotal, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to seeing price up at the weekly kickoff high, or if we can get an acceptance of value from yesterday, that may bring in the value area special situation play to the downside, which isn't all that tremendous, but it's worthwhile. Value low 1954.70. So if we do find acceptance back inside value from yesterday, it's entirely possible we could rotate to that low at some point in the session. So far, that's moot right now because we've got rejection in value from yesterday. Closed the gap, traded to settlement in point of control, and whirled around and headed the other direction. Boy, I would imagine there were a few stops hanging around down here. And here's the euro continuing to get smushed. That is an industry term. Your market gets smushed. Open interest continues to pour in at lower levels. We said it's a 4% change in just the last few sessions to the downside. Added another 18,000 in open interest to the downside on higher volume. On Friday, the auction to the downside is presenting as healthy. Higher volume, higher open interest on lower pricing. The auction seems good to the downside. It's kind of hard to say the auction feels strong to the downside because downside's always viewed as weak. But when you're judging the performance of an auction process, a down move can be just as strong as an up move, if not more. Weekly kickoff low, last week's low. It's going to be a target-rich area for us when we get the opportunity to see it in the regular trading hour session. Pivotal. Here's the 30. Okay, weekly kickoff low is 10874. 0874. We'll look below it a couple of times last night. We have not accepted below that level. Are we going to re-accept inside range and in value from yesterday? It certainly seems the market has already traded to the other extreme of value before the open, but still, it's kind of telling us that this is so far accepting price above these levels. We're going to look to buy strength against these levels unless we break out and bring some volume. Then we attempt to sell strength. Right now, the market's in range and relatively close to value. I'm going to try and stay patient and wait for a good location, a good traded location to come as the day goes on. Again, I don't want to go looking because I'm sure I will find opportunities that may not be the good ones that I'm looking for. Here's the 10-year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 days of balance. 4 days out of 5 testing the weekly kickoff high here. We've got the failure up here last night continues to create balance in this area. Volume and open interest, moot. A little higher volume on Friday. Adding 1,100 in open interest. Only 1,100 in open interest. That's nothing. to the 10-year, to the 30-minute. So we've opened here, no overnight inventory, back inside range and value. This tells us that the market is still accepting value in this area. Opportunities up near these highs, near last week's high, near weekly kickoff high, it looks like a pretty decent opportunity. It's kind of a target-rich environment. We may be able to find some fish there if given the opportunity. If not, we're going to be looking at short time frame levels with which to lean on to look for opportunities. We've got value low from Friday. We've got the session low from Friday. We got settlement from Friday. We got a point of control from Thursday, I should be saying. These are Thursday's numbers. All of these can be targets for the market to get a nice little pullback. So, I mean, my main interest is up here. Everything else, I'm going to be really kind of patient. And because we are in range and in value, I have to stay patient again. Being Monday, that's another reason for me to be patient. All right. Here's the 30 on the 10-year. Open interest, opening inventory a little bit to the short side, and we're still continuing to test down to yesterday's, I should say Friday's low. But again, this is potential areas down here for the market to kind of target. Did I do that again? I went to the nat gas for that one, didn't I? Yep, I did. All right. Well, here's the daily on the nat gas. Okay, we are wrestling with a previous swing high that goes back to the beginning of February. It's the weekly kickoff high. It's last week's high. We looked above it in the overnight session. Volume, open interest, pretty much moot on Friday. We held volume. We added 160 in the open interest on a test to this high here. Take a look at the 30. Now we're going to get to the nat gas 30. This is the one that I was looking at. So opening here, no real overnight inventory with which to work with, centrally located inside range. And a test up to weekly kickoff high seems like a logical spot for me to look for an opportunity if we get that opportunity. If not, we are going to be depending on shorter time frame levels down below here. Okay. Just to kind of review here, weekly kickoff high and low in the Nasdaq. The nat gas, $5.05 on the upside, $4.38 to the downside. It's a little confusing the way when I went to that wrong chart there, and I apologize. So range bound in the 10-year, testing up to here in the overnight, rejecting. Now testing the range low from Friday. Other, it's almost similar to the nat gas, because if we don't get a test of our bigger opportunity up here, we're going to be looking at smaller, shorter time frame opportunities down here all the way to the weekly kickoff low, which is not too far from the last week's low. Interesting spot though. All right. All right. So it is, again, Monday. Keep praying for a change of heart in Russia, or the strength and will, spirits in our coffee. Yep. Yeah. Let's take a look here and see what that crude oil did. The opening range, it looks like by the comments here. Problem is, it was so rich. You had to risk 30 ticks even if you went to half back through that opening range. It's a pretty big opening range. Well, I think Rick, I mean, I think it's already priced into the markets a lot. I think if and when Russia defaults. expecting that, then what are we doing with the sanctions? It's going to be an interesting one. And Tachyon, I'm with you. Peace. All right, so group coaching, 1 o'clock. We'll see you there. Got some emailed in questions again. Group coaching again on Wednesday. And then let's make money on Thursday at about 8:20, 8:25. We'll talk about some trades. We'll vote, and you guys will make the decisions to make me money. I love this. All right. Trade well today. I'm going to take my deep breath. Stay humble, grateful, and creative today. Keep praying for peace. Get out there and profit. I'll see you in the proverbial trading pit in just a few minutes. Trade well today, and we'll see you for, at the very least, the recap at 3 o'clock. Have a great day.